Hello there and welcome to this SportsCenter special one-on-one with Conor McGregor. I'm Ariel Helwani. As you probably know, Conor McGregor is one of the most famous athletes in the world today. He is without a doubt the most famous mixed martial artist in the history of the sport. He has not done an interview with a media outlet since October of last year. Of course, that was the last time we saw him inside the cage when he fought Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 229. This past year has been an interesting one for Conor McGregor, making headlines for things outside of the cage, and tonight he will break his silence for the first time in approximately 10 months on everything that has been going on in his life and his fighting future. And so without further ado, let us say hello now to the notorious Conor McGregor, who's kind enough to join us from Dublin, Ireland. Conor, thank you so much for doing this. How are you?
I'm good, Ariel. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor. It's been a long time, so it's good to chat to you again.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And we really appreciate the time. We know a lot is going on in your life these days, so let's get right into it. Let's get to the news first, if you will. Just last week, TMZ posted a video of an incident that occurred back in April of this past year where you appeared to get into an altercation with another man at a bar in Ireland. Could you tell us your side of that story? What happened there?
I mean, in reality, it doesn't matter what happened there. I was in the wrong. That man deserved to enjoy his time in the pub without having it to end the way it did. And although 5 months ago it was, and I tried to make amends, and I made amends back then, it's still, the fans don't even, that does not even matter. I was in the wrong. I must come here before you and take accountability and take responsibility, and I owe it to the people that have been supporting me. I owe it to my mother, my father, my family. I owe it to the people who trained me in martial arts. That's not who I am. That's not the reason. That's not the reason why I got into martial arts or studying combat sport. The reason I got into it was to defend against that type of scenario. So to see that, and although months ago, and I have been making steps and continually making steps to do better and be better, to see it, it's like a dagger into my heart as a young martial artist. So I'm just here to own up to that and move on and carry on and face what's coming with it.
The video is a little grainy. Did you in fact punch that man?
Look, in respect to the whole entire situation, we'll let it play out with what happens with what happens with it. So
okay, what
happened was a little hazy for me also, and it was many months ago, like I said, and I have been making amends to make it not happen again, and to be better, to be a better father, to be a better human, to be a better role model to these kids. I know a lot of kids are looking up to me, and sometimes it kind of takes me back, but I have to realise that that's not the attitude or the behaviour of a leader, of a martial artist, of a champion. So I must get my head screwed on and just get back in the game and fight for redemption, retribution, respect, the things that made me the man I am, and that's what I will do.
And so right now with that situation, as you mentioned, this happened back in April, but the video gets released last week. Where do things stand with it right now? I mean, look, it got released the day after my daughter's christening, so we had such a great time with my family, and then, you know, I just have to wait and see what happens, and whatever comes my way, I will face it. Whatever comes my way, I deserve it, you know. So I will face this head on. I will not hide from it. I was in the wrong. It was completely unacceptable behaviour for a man in my position. What happens, I will face. Conor, since this video came out, as you probably know, you have been criticized heavily from the fans to UFC President Dana White, fellow fighters. What is it like for you to read this, to hear this stuff? Because it does seem like some of these people who are so loyal to you for so many years are starting to turn on you a little bit, that they're starting to lose patience after seeing all these incidents. What is that like for you to read that stuff and hear that stuff?
Well, as far as like my fellow colleagues, I deserve to be called out on it. I deserve to be called out on that behaviour. It's just unacceptable. There's no excuse to it. I deserve everything that comes my way with it. So, and as far as like the fans and seeing the fans disappointed in me, it hurts me so much because I am a fan. Everything I've done is for the fans. I'm a fan, favourite fighter. My whole entire career has been based for the fans, like never pulling out, never turning down weights, sport, rules, anything. I always done it all to light the game up for the fans and to create fanfare and to see them disappointed in me, it hurts me to my soul more than you'll ever know. So, like I said, retribution, redemption, respect, I will come and I will regain all of those.
This incident happened just a few weeks after that incident in Miami where the fan tried to take a photo of you and you knocked out the phone out of his hands. And so I'm wondering, do you believe that you have an anger problem? Is this something that you need to fix?
You know, that was another situation a long time ago. I seem to be getting into great spaces and great. Like in that Miami trip, I was preparing for battle. I brought my mother out. It was her 60th birthday. I brought the whole family out. We went out, and then a situation arose. I need to just stop reacting to the bait. I got to ask, like, people are trying to bait me into things. Am I the fish or am I the whale? I must be calm. I must be zen. I must lead by example. There's so many people looking up to me. How can I react in this way? I need to get a hold of this, and like I said, I'm working very hard to do this, and I'm taking the necessary steps, and I have been on a great trajectory. And even before the Miami incident, I was on a great trajectory, and then I had a little slip, and then I back up, and I'm just trying my hardest, Ariel. I swear on my life, I'm trying my hardest, and it's been what, 5 months since that one, and that's it. I just have to take what comes and move on.
Could you
learn from every single experience in my life and try and do right for the people that want me to do right? I know you, Ariel, you want me to do right. My mother wants me to do right. My mother wants me to do right. My father, my fans, the people that I want to give them a reason to back me. But how can they back certain situations? So I must understand that and grow as a man and make amends.
Could you tell us your side of that story in Miami? We haven't heard you talk about it. And where do things stand now as far as that incident is concerned?
That incident has been completely handled. The fan, if you want to call, you know, it does not again, it does not matter what the person says or how the situation arose. It does not matter. I was in the wrong, and that's handled and in the past. And I'm happy now to keep moving forward and keep striving forward and focus on the positive. Like if you asked me about Miami and the heckler in Miami, I would rather focus on the occasion with my family. That was an unforgettable moment to bring my mother out for her 60th birthday, you know. I'm trying to focus on all the good in my life and recognise that I do make mistakes and learn from them, not to make them again, but still focus on the good and please, Lord, allow more of it to happen for me.
Conor, I know you're a historian, you're a fight game aficionado, and you have watched it all and you've read it all about some of the greats in the history of not just mixed martial arts, but combat sports, boxing. And you've seen this story before, right? You've seen the guy who, you know, rises up the ranks, makes a lot of money, and then gets himself in trouble repeatedly. I don't need to share the names with you. You know what I'm talking about. Are you worried that the same thing is happening to you? You're still so very young. You're still so very talented. You're in your prime. But yet this year we're seeing a lot more headlines about the negative than the positive. Are you worried that you are watching this movie that you have seen before?
Yeah, of course, and I'm kind of, sometimes I feel like I feed into it and I give it fuel, but I want, like I'm in a position where I can make a position that not many fighters, very few, I can make this generational. I can either be rich and spoiled and blow it all in this generation and leave it all behind in ruins, or I can get my head together and build it and make it generational. The children of my children's children. So if I have this opportunity before me, if I don't execute this and get this right and make this happen for the children of my children's children, and all of my successes, all of everything I've achieved will be void, will be meaningless to me. I must get this right, and I must not go down that path, the path, the written path, the cliche of the fighter that has it all. And you know, I need to be aware of my past, of the past of other individuals, and learn from it and grow. And that's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm working hard to do every single day.
Are you worried it's too late?
I mean, I don't feel. Look, I don't know, Ariel. I'm just going to carry on being. I know who I am as a human being. My people know who I am as a human being, and what kind of father I am, what kind of son I am, what kind of brother I am, what kind of friend I am. And that's it. I will continue to just be good as a human being and not focus on, not worry too much about that. If it is, it is. But I do not believe so. I will earn it back. I'm eager to compete, Ariel. I have not spoke to you in how long? Why? Why not? Like, it's like I've been outlawed from the game or something. Like, what? I have a lot to say. And my coach has been online. Like, there's been many interviews. You know, I've studied every single scenario that's happened to me. I've studied every single scenario that's happened in the game. I'm eager to come back here, so we will see what will happen in the future. But I'm going in confident with a lot of knowledge gained about myself, about my skill set, about my mindset. And I look forward to implementing them and getting back on track. Look at Nate Diaz, last fight 3 years ago, defeated by me, came back and won. And it was a motivating experience for me. Look at Stipe Miocic, came back after a knockout loss, won his title back against the man that knocked him out. There's so many stories of this over and over again, and mine is going to be the greatest one of all, and that's what I am aiming for. So even Uriah Faber, a former foe / friend of mine, he came back 40 years of age. You know, the game is far from over for me, and I'm very, very excited. I had a little road bump. I was preparing for July in Madison Square Garden. I was in phenomenal condition, Ariel, mentally and physically, the best I've ever been. I learned so much from the damage I took in that last camp, what not to do, and how to approach this next time. And I was in phenomenal condition. Then a little slip up again, and I'm just trying to find that balance and get motivated again, and I'm looking for inspiration everywhere. Like I said, I took great motivation from watching Nathan go out and do his thing, and even looking at Nate. There's many things that were amazing about that whole performance for me, for Nate. But one of the most ones that stood out for me is the very first thing he said post-fight was the Nick Diaz army. He gave a shout out to his brother, and I hope his brother's doing well. I hope Nick is doing well, a soldier of the game, of the fight, of the real fight game. And he gave him respect straight off the bat. That's why the fans love Nate. That's why I love and respect Nate. And that's, you know what I mean. And even now with the cannabis strain that he's coming out with, and I hope he has his business mind screwed on, because he is in a position now where he could also make it generational like I have. And I hope to see that. And these are the things that I'm just looking at, taking motivation from to use in my game and to push me forward.
After the break, Conor McGregor addresses his fighting future. When does he want to return? We'll find out after this.
Before me, nobody knew nothing about this sport.
I enter into a different mind frame. I become cold, calm, calculated, and I focus on visualization.
This is hard work. This is an obsession. I am not talented, I am obsessed.
You don't sound, Conor, like a fighter who is retired. You don't sound like a fighter who doesn't want to fight anymore. You sound as motivated as ever, but I would be remiss if I don't ask you about your quote-unquote retirement, because this came just weeks after the incident in Miami. So I'll ask a very simple question off the bat. Are you retired, A? And B, if not, why did you tweet that out?
You know, there's a lot. You don't understand the amount of things that go on behind the scenes, Ariel. Sometimes I just need distance. I'm like, hold on, I've rushed. You must understand, my foot was a balloon when I walked into that fight. I've got all this footage backed up from that entire camp. I broke my foot 3 weeks out from that fight, and my foot was a balloon. I went in, I tore my leg to shreds before the Mendes fight. I've done so much for the company, back to back to back, non-stop. Like I built this. Hoyce can say he built this house. I've certainly laid bricks and blocks down myself to this game. And then when so many things are going on backstage and between my inner team and then the outer team and then the business side of it, sometimes you just need to take a back step. And, you know, but retirement, I don't think I will ever retire from this game, Ariel. Never in my life. I will be fighting until the day I go out. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's in me. It's bled in me. And I will take it with me to the grave.
How did you break your hand?
Sparring. We scheduled a spar. Like I said, I came back from Miami. I scheduled a charity boxing bout in my old club, Crumlin Boxing Club. Many people can't fly to Vegas, you know, come and see me fight. So I wanted to show up to my old club. I wanted to rekindle that relationship, and only when I got back there, I realized how much of a grave error I made in the Mayweather build-up. I needed my coaches that learned me how to box in my corner. So when I went back there, I realized that instantly, and I've been down there doing training sessions, and I had a good exhibition bout with a great fighter, a young up-and-coming fighter, Michael McGrain. We put on a great show for the fans, and then that was it was for the fans and for my people around, and also to rekindle relationships. But it was also to begin preparation. We done 4 rounds in the bout, so I was preparing for it was training for me also, like for the future upcoming bout. So and then obviously then we had a spar scheduled the following week between myself and John. Myself and John, I need to rekindle my relationship with my coach and get that back on also on the MMA side. So we scheduled a spar with another young up-and-comer, but with mixed martial arts, the gloves are so small, 6-ounce gloves. There's the room for damage and injury is so big, it's so high. So we need to come together and realize that this is not the way to do it. So we went into the spar, and although it was scheduled a spar, it was not a spar. It was another fight on the record. There was crowds in attendance. It was behind closed doors fight, and I caught a guy with a right hand, dropped him. When he dropped, I went down on him with an emotional left hand, and banged the left hand off the side of the head, and my whole hand, boom, and that's it. And just it's like it just needed to happen, and that's it. I had to go under the knife. I had to get surgery on it. It's been a psychological battle with the left paw, the famous left paw, but it was the right hand that put the opponent down in the first place. My right hand has been doing great work. I've been doing really great work with my right hand, and even more so now that my left hand has been out of action. But I'm back now. I'm back. Yesterday I met with the surgeon. He said to me originally September to grapple, but I was with him yesterday. He said, now I can grapple. So I'm going to go back into my grappling. I'm already boxing again. Of course, I haven't stopped kicking. Of course, I haven't stopped on my fast conditioning training. I've been on my work. So let's get it going now. Let's see where we go. And I'm excited now.
So if it wasn't for the hand injury, Conor, do you think you would have already fought this summer?
Yes. I was preparing for the end of July at Madison Square Garden. I was eager to get back. I had the game in, I had it figured out, and I have it figured out. I was on such a great trajectory, Ariel. Like I said, I get to these great spots, and then boom, a little slip, and then I have to build it up again. And it's just the life I'm in right now, and I've just got to recognize it and understand it and take lessons from it and just keep going and just not let it happen again. But most certainly I would have been back in July. If we get that, we were getting there in conversation. There was opponents discussed. I did not really mind the opponent. I wanted similarities to Khabib to prepare for that, because he doesn't want to have the rematch, and whatever. I just wanted to compete now. Enough is enough. Let's get me back in the mix. It's a forgetful business, Ariel. You know that yourself. I mean, sure, look, Nate was out of the game, and now he's back and he's on top. It's a crazy business we are in, but make no mistake, the skills are there for me, and I know what I can bring to the table and what I will bring to the table, and I'm very, very excited to give my fans something to cheer about again. You know what I mean? I do this for my fans, for the people that are supporting me, for the people that dare to dream the highest of heights. So I look forward to my triumphant return, Ariel.
Conor, what is the state of your relationship with the UFC brass right now?
I always have a great relationship with the UFC. I never, it's brand over fighter, the rhetoric. One of the things that kind of slowed it down backstage was when they tried to make me the co-main event and all of these type of things. But it's just business. We have a great business relationship with the UFC. I respect the UFC very much. It's a part of me, the UFC. And that's why I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to be shown a little bit, because I understand, I know every inch of the game and what can bring it to the next level, and I wanted that respect, and that's where I was kind of going. And then they were trying to push me back, but it's all business, and business is not emotional. I have a great respect for the people in the UFC, for Lorenzo that built it, for Dana, of course, and the people that are involved in it now. So there's no dispute at all. We are all eager to get this back on track.
There was a stretch mid-year where it seemed like every Saturday night a fight happens, and there you are popping up on Twitter talking about, the guy who just won, someone who's close to your weight class. And again, I was starting to feel like the fans were like, all right, we'll watch you fight anyone. We'll watch you fight a broomstick. You sell a million pay-per-views by yourself.
Yeah.
But they were like, okay, enough already. Like, you keep teasing us, it seems like. And I was starting to get that sense from the fans. Why were you doing that? Why did you keep putting yourself in those positions and then not take a fight?
I love the game, Ariel. I watch it from the start to the finish. I watch the prelim to the finish. Come on, that's why. Hey, can I not engage in the game? Why am I outlawed? Why am I not spoke to you in over a year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why is this? I love this game. This is my game. I love it. Look at everything that I've been talking about. Like even I always jumped in. I wanted to say things to help boost people, and like a lot of the things that's been connected to me. The Poirier-Holloway fight, and even Art and Paulie. There's so many things in the fight game that's been connected to me that I've been speaking on. But even other things like watching the bouts take place, watching specific rules happen, and watching specific stylistic matchups take place. This is what I love to do, and this is what I live for, Ariel. I'm a fighter first. You know what I mean? I'm an entrepreneur, and I love my other game, my games, my businesses, and these are my loves. But I'm a fighter first and foremost, and I love it dearly.
Don't go anywhere, because after the break, we'll talk to Conor McGregor about Nathan Diaz. What did he think of his return last Saturday, and does he want a trilogy fight against him? We'll find out.
Never gonna let you down.
There's a new king of this motherfucker now, and it's right here.
Together down. Push it to the limit, push it to the limit. Against all odds, I'm not a quitter. When time gets hard, that's when I deliver. Knocked down many times, but I still get up.
I want number 3.
You mentioned Nate Diaz last weekend. He wins. He looks very good. It sounds like you were somewhat inspired by his performance. But I thought it was interesting that afterwards...
Do you notice the stance? He came tight with his hands up high, nice and early.
Yes.
I noticed it. He had to do that. He had to do that against Anthony. Anthony also has learned. If you look at Anthony's style, versus Tony Ferguson. He should have got that win against Tony Ferguson, but he almost blew it. He rushed the finish. Ended up in closed guard. Ended up tied up. Ended up exerting his energy. This is the things I've gone through in my career. So I've been watching Anthony closely also. And he fought Wonderboy Thompson a lot differently. He kept a lot more patient. He wasn't as reckless with his 360 flip kicks that. If you catch them, great, but you must time them perfectly. And he was a lot more patient. Although Thompson was winning the bout, he caught him with that shot. And look what that. It was a phenomenal finish. And then it got him the big fight with Nate. But then Nate is just a little bit more experienced. Like if you look at Anthony, is kind of learning that style. Nate has even learned it a little bit more through the bouts with me. So Nate was just that bit more experience in there and just being able to understand it that bit more, and that's why he came out with the win. That's why I was interested to see what way the bout would take place, who would implement this smoother and sharper, and I felt Nate would, and I was happy to see him do it.
I thought it was interesting afterwards that he didn't mention you. He didn't call you out. He called out Jorge Masvidal, and Masvidal, who had been talking about you, seemed very interested in the fight, and I felt like you were almost being boxed out. Were you surprised that no one, it seemed that these guys weren't asking for you, that Nate wasn't targeting you next?
No, I do. Nate, come on now, Ariel. Look, we spent almost 50 minutes in an octagon together. The damage is they were intense bouts, Ariel. Very, very intense bouts. But Nate is a crafty individual. He opened up the deck. He opened up the deck for him. That's why Nate is a crafty individual. And Jorge's on a 2-fight win streak at the minute. Again, the game's very forgettable. He didn't really have a great run in the lightweight division, and he's on a 2-fight streak. And he was present in the arena. Nate's a crafty individual, but I did not feel I was being boxed out. I boxed Nate out in reality. So, and we'll see what happens if he does not want the trilogy bout, no problem. I don't blame him. Look at the damage. Look at the fights. Look at the damage. They were intense bouts, Ariel. But that does not matter. Like you said earlier, it does not matter now. It's time for me to just get back in. You know what I mean? And I was over that also. I was ready to go against anyone, and I was preparing for the end of July. And this happened, and that's it. I must deal with it and accept it and learn from it, and that's what I will do. I feel like it's taken me back to when I tore the ACL post Mendes Aldo, post that whole sequence, because I had to change my whole training methods into a much softer approach, much more aware of the body, much less damage taken. You want to see the footage we have, Ariel? You want to see the camps I've gone through? You know what I mean? I've had people hold up in hotel rooms waiting for me to call them to come down and have unscheduled bouts. They weren't training sessions, they were bouts. They were bouts with crowds in attendance. We have them filmed, and this was in preparation for a bout. Why am I having bouts in preparation for a bout? It makes no sense. So this injury is at the force of me to just go back to that the way I had to when I was on one leg. And look what happened then. I won both my world titles. So that's the mindset I'm approaching this game with now, and using that previous experience as confidence, and that's what I will do.
And to be clear, Conor, for that fight in July, did you have, in fact, an opponent? I'd heard Pettis, I'd heard other names as well, but did you have an opponent waiting for you, or we didn't get to that point yet?
I believe it was leaning towards Justin Gaethje at that time. But look, the game changes so quick. Everyone just comes and goes. It's a forgetful business. It is a cruel, cruel business, Ariel. Only for the amount of history I've made, the amount of iconic moments that's happened in my career. They would have loved to thrown me away, discard me. Think of the other people that haven't had what I've had, that's gone through the trauma and the battles for the fans. So that's what we do it for. We do it for the fans and for our family and for the people. And then when it's all said and done, they just discard you, and it's a cruel business. But you know, that's why I was happy to see Nate bounce back, and I was happy to see not just on bounce back, but bounce back with some business on his mind. I know he doesn't want to go delve into that. I was listening to him talking about his CBD, and he was like, I don't really want to get into that. I urge him to get into that. You need to get a hold of that now also and start learning that aspect of the game, because the fight game is short and the game is very forgetful. So I was just happy to see it, and I understand the business I'm in, and it's not going to be here forever. Although I'll be here forever, I'll be always around, Ariel. You know that. There'll always be something, and I will always be looking for something or got to do with this game, because I love it dearly. I'll always be invested into this game. My son, I'm training my son in the skills of all the martial arts that I've learned over the years. And if he wants to run with that, I'll guide him all the way. If he doesn't, I will not. You know what I mean? This sport is my life. This is what gave me this life, and God bless this life. So I'm just eager to get back.
So let's be as clear as possible. If the UFC came to you today and said, Conor, who do you want? What do you want? Is it the winner of Khabib Poirier, which has been discussed in the past? They're fighting in just a couple of weeks in Abu Dhabi. Is it someone else? Who does Conor McGregor want in his highly anticipated return fight?
In the return fight, you know, I want my world title back. I want that redemption. The camp was incorrect. I learned so much on that, and look, knowing the commitment I had in that camp, and knowing the performance I put on. You know what I mean? He ran away for that first round, Ariel. He didn't throw a punch. He shot for the legs before he threw a punch. The first round, I should have been talking to Herb. He says he was talking to me in the cage. There wasn't a whisper out of him until he ended up in a dominant position. And the only reason he ended up in that dominant position because I walked around with disrespect towards him because he was just running around the cage. I switched off at that millisecond. He got that lucky shot. Even after he got the lucky shot, although it was a beautiful shot, even after he got the shot, I bounced back up and engaged. What did he do? He shot again. But whatever, there's many great things that I can take from that, and I can come back and avenge that. But I'm not going to wait around. I'm not whoever. If you're asking me whoever. If Dustin goes in and does it, Dustin. If Nate. If Jorge, I don't know what size. I don't know what Dana's talking about size and all that. I don't know what I don't even know Jorge that well, to be honest. I've just seen the last two, and I saw the Iaquinta bout, but I mean, anyone, Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, Holloway rematch, Aldo rematch. There's so many bouts for me, Ariel, so many. And in reality, it does not matter who. It's just about me getting back in and being who I am, not a shell of myself, not a half committed. I was almost, if I had to say what I was too committed in the gym and not committed enough outside of it. The training sessions were too serious, and then when I left the gym, it was gone from my mind. I would go off into the jungle, and you cannot do that. You cannot be half in, especially in a game like this. And I paid the price for it, and that's it. And although I had reasons and I had injuries, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? What happened. I know what I can do. I've done it before. I've done it before when I was doubted. So I'm eager to do it again.
Coming up, we talk to Conor McGregor about his longtime rival, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Does he want a crack at the Dagestani fighter if he wins on September 7th? We'll ask him after this.
People always think it's a game or it's an act. I'm cool with all the gods. Gods recognize gods. When I hit, they fall. It will be done
True or false, you will fight again this year?
It's hard to put it. I would say true. I would say we can get that done. I would say we can get that done. Like I said, yesterday I spoke to the surgeon about grappling. I'm going to begin grappling now. I'm already in shape. I have not lost my condition. So I'm in shape. I just need to sharpen up the grappling, just feel how the grip feels on the wrist and things like that. But I can punch fully. So I would. What are we now? August. Come on. I would say so. I would look for that. Yes, for the end of the year.
And would it be fair to say that the prime option would be, you know, Khabib gets by Poirier, that rivalry still seems very personal. It still seems like there's a lot of heat there, and it still seems like you think that you can beat Khabib. Jump right in there, no tune-up fight, just go back in there and try to avenge that loss.
Yes, dive in, Ariel. I dove in on one foot. My foot was a balloon. My foot was a balloon. You want to see it? Do you know what I mean? My toes came out of the socket. A guy had to come into the cage and break them back into place. The thing ballooned out. And I hobbled in there and walked them down and did not give two shits. And that was with a bad camp. That was with a half-committed camp. There's no doubt. If that's what's there, that's what I'll take. But if not, I'll take whatever's there. And there's plenty there. Like I just named, multiple people.
You have alluded a couple times to your relationship with your longtime head coach, John Kavanagh, SBG Gym. I've seen photos of you guys together, but I've also heard the whispers that maybe you aren't as close as you once were. When you do return, will it be with him by your side? And could you tell us what's the state of the relationship there?
John is a genius at the game, and having him in my corner is essential. You know what I mean? I felt a little bit slighted when there was these interviews going on, Ariel. And it was one of the things was I hadn't watched the fight back yet, and when I heard that I was like, I've watched the fight back 888 times before I even got back to the house from the T-Mobile Arena to the house. I watched the fight about 800 times, and to hear that he hasn't watched the fight back, I was a little bit taken back. And then I've got to ask, I need a why has to coach me. I just felt a little bit. Hang on a minute, you know what I mean? Maybe I need a why, but look, this is all. I understand that. My half commitment has led to these thoughts and this type of thing. So I'm just in the process of making it right, and we'll get there. But I need John will be in my corner, no doubt.
Okay, and I know that we are approaching the limit that we agreed upon. Do you mind if I go a little longer, or do you have to leave?
Work away, Ariel. It's an honor to chat to you, and I appreciate your time, and it's good to chat to you again.
It is. I feel like we're just getting warmed up. It's like old times here. I love it.
I know that. I know. Well, hey, don't bleed and don't lock me away for a year and a half, mate. Come on.
Listen.
What was that about? I mean,
are you
serious? I don't know why that was. It's quite. I know that. I hear you, but I feel like I don't know. There's so much been going on at me. So many things coming at me. I'm like, hang on a minute. I feel like I need to get my voice back out there a little bit, and I was getting my fighting back out there, and then I got sidetracked, and then. But look, I'm in a good spot, Ariel. This is many months ago, this type of thing, and I just want to, I want to make sure that I'm apologising for that situation. That's not a good look at it. It's not who I am, and I want to just get by that and get on with this and show what I am now. You know what I mean? And move forward with positive attitude and a full commitment to the game.
Several months ago, Conor, Max Holloway took a trip to Dublin, and it seemed like he was taking subtle jabs at you. It seemed like he was looking for you. What did you make of those pictures and the content that he wrote online? And is that a fight that you are interested as well?
It's certainly a fight I'm interested in, young Holloway. I mean, you saw it's not as easy as you think to move up a division and to challenge for the second world title. You saw that with young Max. I thought him coming over and doing that was a little cheap. Although, get your money. If you're paid to come over and do this by a brand that's afraid of me and afraid of what I'm doing with my, you know what I mean. That's okay, but whatever. It is what it is. This is another moment where I'm almost reacting to the bait. I'm like, hold on, I need to just. You know what I mean? I need to accept things the way they are, and that's it. But the Holloway bout is certainly a bout I'm interested in. I have a lot of respect for Max. I truly do. We went through that issue that kind of just got forgotten about. But you know what I mean? I have a lot of respect for Max, and he's been through wars. And again, he's been rushed. And it's just Max is definitely up there, top of the list. And do you know who else is top of the list? Frankie Edgar is also up there, right there, top of the list, because he has similarities to Khabib. Runs on the back foot, shoots on the single leg. I want these type of similar bouts. And also, Frankie has been very respectful. Frankie has always been respectful. I want to tell my grandkids that I fought Conor McGregor one day. And for me to hear that, I asked Dana. For me, when I heard that, this was going back many months, he said that, I messaged Dana straight away and said, that's the fight to make. And even though he lost the belt to Max in a close bout, and I don't care about that. Wins and losses in this game don't mean anything. It's the stories we are all on, the journeys we are all on. That's why sometimes when things get a little bit personal, it does hit harder. You know what I mean? But that's why also when I can see something going well, like the Nate situation, it makes me feel good, and you know what I mean? I just use it. Well, we're all in it together at the end of the day. It's a mad, mad, mad business we are in, and that's it. So there are many, many fights for me to have. And I look forward to them.
And when you talk about fighting for the belt next and wanting to jump right back in there, I can't help but think of Tony Ferguson. And Tony has been vocal since returning and since leaving the management team that you're represented by, thinking that he has been held back and he feels like he should have fought for the belt. And I'm wondering if that's a fight that you feel like needs to happen as well.
Again, Tony's another warrior. Tony is another warrior. I've got a lot of respect for Tony also. We had Tony. Tony was looked after in our stable. All our fighters, we have a strong stable of fighters, so it was wrong of him to say that, and it was wrong of him to turn his back on that. And I think, you know, for Audie and the team that were with him constantly and helped build him up and fought for him, I thought it was wrong. But Tony's also in the mix. We'll see what happens.
Do you still want shares in the UFC?
You know, Tony has that 12-fight win streak, and they want him for the belt and all this stuff. Let's just see what happens now in September, Abu Dhabi. There's a lot of things moving and shaking, and let's just see how it pans out.
Coming up, we'll stop and smell the roses. Conor McGregor will reminisce on his great career, how far he has come over the past 6 or so years. Don't go anywhere.
Just listen to the soundtrack of this Dublin crowd as they welcome their fighting son, notorious Conor McGregor. Right now looks hot, this could be the end. That is it, he's on. Conor McGregor is victorious. The crowd go absolutely wild.
Last month, Conor, was the 5-year anniversary of your win over Diego Brandao, one of the most magical nights in the history of this sport in Dublin. And there were a lot of things written about that, videos that were resurfaced, and you're in the midst of all of this. And I'm wondering, somewhere in your home, wherever you were at the time, were you looking at this stuff and maybe a little nostalgic for a simpler time, for a time where you were on fire? I mean, you could not do anything wrong. How did you react to that, and did that help fuel you in this return as well?
Of course. I mean, what an iconic night for the sport, and for the sport in Ireland. It made the sport in Ireland, really. It catapulted it into the mainstream, and it had nothing but good effects. So to be a part of that, and then to think of the people that I'd done it with and I came on with, of course I was sitting there nostalgic, and again using it as motivation. And even the opponent, I went through, I'm not sure how many opponents I went through. It was supposed to be Cole Miller. I had a back and forth with Cole Miller on your show, I believe. And then it was Diego, I think it was Andy Ogle, and then it was Diego Brandao. And Diego was an amazing opponent. The Brazilian people, I have so much love and respect for the Brazilian people. There are so many Brazilians here in Ireland. And even just the other day, I saw Sao Paulo's in darkness and with the Amazon rainforest. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, I don't know what's going on, but I mean, Diego was a phenomenal opponent. I have a lot of respect for the Brazilian people, and what an iconic moment for the sport in Ireland, and I'm just proud to be a part of it. And I pray every day. I pray for that whole situation out there. I just pray for the clouds to clear or something. I pray that now we can a church burnt down and we gathered together and billions were formed and the church was put down and rebuilt. Now that we can put this out there, surely we can fight this fire and clear the skies. I mean, Sao Paulo, Brazil, beautiful Brazil, is in darkness in the day. I mean, what? We need to do something about that.
And Conor, you know, we hear from famous athletes all the time, I'm going to be better, I'm going to learn from my mistakes. Could you tell us what you are actively doing right now differently than a few months ago to try to get back on track, to try to not be in trouble anymore?
First of all, I'm focusing on my family. I'm focusing on my family life. I'm also having long, hard discussions with myself, daily discussions, because it's a daily thing, Ariel. Not to get, you know, you could say the world at my feet. I could either stomp on it or use it to rise me up. You know what I mean? So I'm trying not to succumb to temptation. I'm trying not to give in to bait. I'm trying to be a family man, and I'm working hard every day, and these are the things I'm doing, focusing on my kids, focusing, like I said, training my son in martial arts. We moved into a new property only a few weeks ago, and it was such a hard time to find them, and we're very happy with it, and I'm settling down with my family and raising my family, looking for schools now, and these are the things I'm doing to keep me focused while also continuing my training and my business.
Conor, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. It has been great to catch
Ariel,
up with you.
thank you so much.
Once again, and we wish you the best
Thank
and hope that you have a speedy recovery and are able to return sooner rather than later.
Ariel, thank you so much. I appreciate that, and I appreciate that, and thank you so much for giving me the platform to come on here and apologise to the fans and that man and to my people, and just to show that I do not feel like I'm above this. I am at fault here, and I want to own up to that and man up, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, and I hope we can continue this, and I hope we can move nice and steady towards more conversation and more fight conversation and things of that matter that we are interested in, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime. There he is, the one and only Conor McGregor, hoping to return later this year. Great to catch up with him after all these months. Without a doubt, the most famous fighter in the history of mixed martial arts. There he was, speaking for the first time since October in an interview with a media outlet. He had not talked since right before that Khabib Nurmagomedov fight. There are certainly a lot of options for Conor McGregor upon his return. Appears to be in great spirits. It has been a long time since I've heard him that motivated and that eager to return, and I think that is music to a lot of his fans' ears. Appreciate you watching this SportsCenter special one-on-one with Conor McGregor. I'm Ariel Helwani. Thanks to Conor. Thanks to all of you for watching. We'll see you next time.